Listen, huge win for Canada against Colombia. This is a really big deal today. Claire, this has to be a big relief for this team, right? They've been playing under the cloud of this title of cheater. Like, what's been the effect of that on them?
Yeah, I think it's been a big relief for the players and for fans across the country. I mean, I know I felt a huge amount of relief in the booth at the end of both today's match and the match against France. I think it's been a really difficult time for everybody, and it's really impacted the players. I think they even said that they'd been crying, hadn't slept, hadn't had anything to eat. Really difficult to bounce back from that. I think it speaks a lot to their leadership qualities on the pitch and the number of players they're willing to step into leadership roles. And that's not just, you know, the vocal leadership from Vanessa Gilles when she calls players into a team meeting on the pitch when they go down by a goal, but it's also players who are leading by example. Jessie Fleming, Janine Becky, the amount of their defensive work rate throughout the match, I think really buoyed this team to victory. So
they needed that. I mean, we are talking obviously about this scandal of someone from the coaching staff flying a drone over New Zealand practices, not once, but twice. It's spying, it's cheating. I was saying, Shireen, that I think you have to go back probably to the Ben Johnson doping scandal to conjure the feeling of anger, humiliation, embarrassment, heartbreak.
Absolutely. I made that comment, actually, and got quite a lot of pushback for people wanting to reduce it. I think it was, Canadians are very upset, and there's a lot of misdirected anger and emotion. But the reality is, we don't even know at this point, Adrienne, how deep this goes. We're learning every day. There's new facts just today. There's more information being reported on how far back this goes and just how many players from this program and how many iterations of teams that actually did affect.
The Ben Johnson scandal ended up being a moment of reckoning for doping in the sport. Is that what we're looking at here?
Well, the reality is I keep hearing, well, everybody does it. And even in the documents that we saw today, former head coach Brad Priestman said top 10 teams all do it. But just because everybody does it doesn't mean it's going to be permissible. The reality is the players here have suffered at an ultimate betrayal, what I think is an ultimate betrayal, by people they trusted. But that doesn't make it acceptable. So then comes the uncomfortable conversation of how do we navigate the situation when the players may have benefited unknowingly from a situation that was tantamount to cheating, and what and how is it covered on the women's side as opposed to the men's side, and what will be the repercussions for the men's coaches that were involved in this level?
Claire, can you help me understand something? When we hear that the players didn't know, I am not a player, I don't know, how credible is it that they wouldn't have seen that footage? Like, how would it work?
I mean, I can only speak from my perspective as a player, and you'd go into meetings and either be presented with game footage, which you may have seen previously, or been just given information verbally from coaches. And you put a certain degree of trust and faith in your coaches that information is obtained ethically. And from my perspective as a player, I never thought to question that. It's just so disappointing, and quite frankly, I mean, I've used the words at times that disgusting that covenant between those players and the coaches, that faith and that trust was broken.
Is it credible that players had absolutely no idea that this was going on when there are emails from, or at least one email from Bev Priestman saying, as you said, top 10 teams do it, goes on in the men's and women's team? Like, how is it that the players would have no idea this happens?
I mean, I'm not in their camp at this time, and my experience was, I mean, we never questioned it from the coaches, and you just have that faith that they're obtaining it ethically.
Yeah, this is hard. Is there any suggestion that the Tokyo gold is now under scrutiny?
I mean, we won't know that information yet. I think more things will come out. We're expecting to see more details unearthed. As far as, you know, Tokyo gold, the medal being stripped, that would be devastating.
Of course.
And it's, I think, something that nobody wants to visit at this time. But, you know, there's questions that the players need answers to. And one of the things that I found most heartbreaking was when you had vets and storied players. Christine Sinclair is the most decorated international player in history, going to social media to stand in solidarity with this current team. And Steph Labe going and saying, I didn't cheat. I found that really, really hard, and imagining them having to do that. So as far as the idea of taking the gold, which was one of Canada's best sporting moments in history, that is just unfathomable.
One last thought, just to each of you, starting with you, Claire. What do we look for next? What are you looking for next?
Canadian Soccer Association and FIFA both said they're going to put in a significant amount of work with an investigation. And I just hope that we get clarity and answers. And I also do hope that in all areas of their jurisdiction, FIFA continues to act as swiftly as they did in this scenario.
Interesting. Shireen?
I echo that. I think it's really interesting. There's cases of abuse and sexualized violence for footballers, female footballers, and FIFA was very quick to come down this way in this instance. But just for example, the coach of Zambia had been accused and isn't even allowed to stay in the Olympic Village with the players. I would also like to see, I echo that, because I don't think anyone's looking to FIFA as a bastion of human rights and a guiding light morality-wise. But I think in this case, if they can help assist and come to some type of closure quickly, it would be beneficial for the players who, let's not forget, are still in competition. They are still going forward. And if I can say something to Canadians to support these players, it's very important to do that, ask the questions, wait for some answers and reviews, and don't be upset at people asking those questions either.
All right, Shireen Ahmed, Clare Rustad, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.